Hey, what's up everybody? Rob Marzullo here, Ram Studio Comics. Welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to work on some action poses. They're actually just going to be flying shots, two male, two female. So we're going to start off with an upshot. And let me start by saying that bear with me here because upshots are not my strong suit. In fact, far from it. It's actually why I focus on doing them so much, because it really makes me kind of mad that I can't draw them as well. So instead of avoiding them, which I don't recommend, I go right for it. So that's what you see me doing here. The way I try to combat that when I'm not as confident drawing something is you'll see me nudge things around and create selections and change the size of things. I also flip the artwork back and forth to spot errors. And I think upshots are really tricky because we're not used to seeing people flying above us. Maybe I don't know what that, how to explain that, but we're not used to that pose. So essentially it's just harder for us to envision. Now you can study things like gymnastics, UFC, fighting, kickboxing, whatever you can get your hands on, football, basketball. You're going to see all these different body poses and movement and action. And you really want to get in the habit of not needing to find the right pose. Now, obviously you can take shots of yourself and your friends with cameras and these smartphones. You can even set them up and take a shot with a timer. They have all sorts of neat features. You can get in the habit of doing that, but you do want to eliminate the need to find just the right pose every time. Reason being, it's really going to slow you down trying to get those poses all in order and the right shots and importing the photos and things like that. But if you get in the habit of just seeing something similarly, like for instance, one of the best things you can do as an artist is study by using a mirror. The reason being is everybody's got a mirror. Everybody can, pose in the mirror usually, pretty quickly. And if you get in the habit of being able to look at it that way and then adjust it to your imaginative drawing, then you're going to be quicker. You're going to really have everything you need right at your disposal, right at your art table. So I do recommend doing that. I've talked about that before. Keep a mirror by your art table. Try to pose and study different poses and redraw them in your own imaginative way. Now, that being said, you do have to really practice on obviously stretching proportions and doing dynamic alterations to that. If you draw a person, if you even trace a person or whatever, it's just not going to look cool. It's not going to look dynamic enough. It's going to look pretty plain and boring. Sometimes it just won't even read well. It's really strange how the body in a regular kind of photocopied manner just isn't that impressive. But if you take and you add dynamic proportions to it and you adjust things, that's how you get the superhero form in comics, And think about it like this. The artists that are generally the most revered in comics have a very skewed or ultra dynamic, ultra disproportionate style. Look at people like Joe Mad or Todd McFarlane or even Sam Keith. Or there's just a number of these artists out there that they throw proportions right out the window. And that's where they come up with this ultra impressive comic book form. The way I look at it is like this. By them doing that, they're really letting their imagination take the front seat and anything about correctness take the back seat. So essentially, you're getting a lot more of their imaginative process. You're able to kind of hone in on that. You're able to step into their world and see that a bit more. Now, if they were just studying from life all the time, then that's going to kind of start to show through and they're not going to be as imaginative. It's not going to be so them in a sense, So I really recommend playing around with proportions, making things as dynamic as you can and not constricting yourself to realism too much. Now, you definitely want to learn from realism. You want to study anatomy. You want to learn, where a part of an arm starts, where it ends, where a muscle begins, where it ends, how another muscle overlaps it. You need that information to do your imaginative stuff, or it's just not going to read well. But after you get a confidence with that, you'll start to really stretch the rules, bend to break the rules. So take it as you will. That's just one of the things I wanted to touch on with this. But essentially, now I'm doing a profile shot. These are generally more easy to accomplish. But notice too that I'm rotating the image a lot. I could be flipping the entire canvas, and rotating the entire canvas and zooming in. But I try to stay back a bit so you can see everything that I'm doing kind of in actual size. But see, I'm just kind of moving it around a lot. Just like you would take a sheet of paper and you would move it around to draw on, I always feel it's it helps you spot flaws. Like for instance, me personally, I always spot more flaws once I shrink the work down. I don't know why that is. If you know, you can comment in the section below. It's just something I happen to see almost more than when I flip the work. I definitely see another series of flaws, especially in my symmetry or something being angled improperly. I see that when I flip the work. But when I shrink it down, I can judge proportions a bit better. And I don't know, I spot the weirdest flaws when I shrink the work down, but that's just me. So here, so after erasing this down and redrawing it, I actually started to not like the pose. It wasn't feeling like she was coming off the page and there was enough depth. Just kind of almost felt like she just had these little short legs, and I didn't like that. So you'll see I X that out and try something else there. But I do try to work through it as much as possible before I just totally erase and redraw. I really try to salvage everything I can about the poses and try to be aware of time constraints, because even though I don't do as much page work where I need to really push out a page or two a day or anything like that, I still kind of keep in mind that I could at some point, so I need to really keep moving forward. So I try to save whatever I can within my work. So that's what you see me doing there, just kind of restructuring it, redrawing it, still trying to keep the upper body and just rework the lower portion. So yeah, they're scaling it real far down, and that's when I spot the arm looks clunky, the leg looks a bit weird, and I do a redraw of those. And keep in mind, it's always a good idea to draw through the other leg so that you can map out where that other one goes a bit more effectively. So yeah, so hopefully you guys like this style of videos. Let me know, because you know, if you do, we'll do some more. We'll do like running poses, action poses. You know, you can comment below and request different poses that you think would be fun and informative to have on the channel. And instead of just doing one, we'll do a couple, like 4 or 5, whatever. I think it's just a good idea, because then we're not just saying, you know, oh, here's a video where somebody's flying, or drawing a picture of somebody flying. That only tells us so much. We got to really get in the habit of rotating the forms. Drawing a leg and then almost like a 3D turntable kind of style. We have to rotate that in our mind's eye and put it on the page, and that's hopefully what this type of video series will help with. But you guys can let me know. And keep in mind, I do have a new book out, shameless plug time. I got to tell you about it. It's Learn to Draw Action Heroes. It's available on Amazon. There'll be a link in the description box below. I'd love it if you could pick up a copy and then let me know what you think about it. Put about 6 months of work into that puppy, and it's finally out, and just got a shipment the other day. Very excited. We might even run some contests for it here on the channel, so let me know if you you guys want to do like a little art competition, and maybe I'll give out some books or something like that. It might be kind of fun. And if you want a copy of this artwork so that you can mess around and kind of practice with these, I'll make them available on my Deviantart. There'll be a link in the description box below. So I really appreciate you tuning in. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and I will talk to you soon.